Hey, g'day, it's Prezzo. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I've just returned from a 4-week holiday in New Zealand, and as you can see, I've got the t-shirt to prove it. And this was our 4th visit to New Zealand, and we were able to cover a lot of the places we hadn't seen in previous visits. Now, New Zealand is a wonderful destination to visit. It's got beautiful scenery and landscapes, it's got unusual things to see and do, wonderful food, and the most friendly people on earth. And we're also able to catch up with my son, who lives and works near Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand. So it was great to catch up with him. And on the way home, when we got to Auckland, we were able to visit a gentleman named John Pearce. Now, John has a YouTube channel called the Hobby Machinist NZ. I'll put a link in the description below there. And he has a fairly comprehensive home workshop. But the most amazing thing was that he made a copy of the Fireball hardtail vise. Now, if you've seen Fireball Tools channel, you would have seen that vise, and he's doing a big promotion on that at the moment. But John has made a replica of that vise. However, he's done it in a home workshop, and once I saw that vise and had a play with it, I realised what a unique piece of equipment it really is. But he does a lot of other stuff as well, and it's worthwhile checking out to see what he does. Now, what are we doing today? Well, before I went away on this holiday, I started work on a project, and I want to show you what that looks like. The parts for this project came from a company called D. Gray Drafting and Design. Now, there's a link in the description there below, and you may have already seen a number of videos on YouTube where different machinists had made a set of 3-inch machinist clamps. I think Blondie Hacks did a video, so did Just One Guy Metalworks and Matty's Workshop. And when I saw those videos, I was really keen to make a set of these clamps for myself. Now, Doug Gray, who runs D. Gray Drafting and Design, sent me one of his stickers, and we're going to get that up on the door now, and then we'll have a closer look at the project. So I think we'll put Doug down here below Everett's Workshop. And Stevie GTR, if you're watching, mate, you need to get onto your sticker supplier. You've got a fading problem going on here. Maybe these aren't designed for the harsh Australian sun. But there you go, there's Doug's sticker. Now let's have a closer look at the project. Okay, so this is what I made. This is a 3-inch version of the D. Gray Drafting and Design machinist clamp. Now, when you purchase this from Doug Gray, you'll get the laser cut steel frames, you'll get all of the materials to make all of the parts, including the fasteners, and you'll also get an excellent set of drawings. So these are the drawings that he will send you, and they're fully detailed with all of the sizes and dimensions that you need. However, with this one here, although the opening or the jaw capacity on this is 3 inches, I actually made it as a metric set of clamps. So I've used metric fasteners for everything, and I also used materials that would be at least corrosion resistant in my workshop. Now, I bang on about this all of the time on my channel, but I hate corrosion and rust, and in this sort of environment where I live, it's a real issue. So what I've done is I've made all of the parts either from brass or copper for the jaws. I've used stainless steel for these connecting pins and this trunnion here. And for the frames, which come as a hot rolled steel part, I've stripped off all of the black oxide coating on the steel, and then I've zinc plated that and put a gold chromate dip on it as well. Now, the gold chromate just gives it that beautiful appearance. It does also enhance the corrosion resistance of the parts, and just looks nice. Now, the screw is made of a sort of a high strength steel, and what I did there was I Parker phosphate coated the steel. Now, that gives you that lovely black finish, and in my workshop at least, this finish will last for many, many years without any maintenance at all, and it always remains that colour and has that appearance. So that's the 3-inch clamp, but of course, you've got to have 2. So here's the other one. And as you know, when a man and a woman love each other in a very special way, something magical happens. That's right. 9 months later, what do you get? You get little Junior, and you get little Miss Clamp as well. So this is a 50mm replica of this 3-inch set of clamps here. Now, I say 50mm because Doug Gray sells this kit as a 2-inch set or a 50mm set. So if you live in the rest of the world that embraces the metric system, you're covered. And in this case, I also just bought the laser cut frames, and I made all of the rest of the parts again using brass, stainless steel, brass jaws in this case here. And I put the same finish on these parts as I did on the 3-inch set. Now, of course, the family is not complete unless you go and buy a poodle or two. So these are the 1-inch replicas or the 25mm replicas of the same set of clamps. So what I want to do today in this video is show you a close-up of this 1-inch set or 25mm set, and maybe talk about some of the finishes that I've used. So let's have a close look at these guys. So here's a close-up look at the 25mm clamps that I made. Now, when I contacted Doug Gray, I asked him if he could make a laser cut set of frames for clamps of this size, and he didn't quite get to that point. So what I did was I took the set that I bought for the 50mm clamps and I just reverse engineered these, made a like a CAD model of the clamp, and then extracted the DXF drawing for that profile there, and I cut that out on my little CNC milling machine. And then I process these parts the same way I did for the other sets of clamps. These are zinc plated and gold chromated as well. And this just gives you some idea of how versatile these clamps can be. So in this case, I've got a stack of 2 parts gripped together there. These are actually the arms from the 50mm set of clamps with the laser cut edges. That's how they come to you. And if you wanted to be able to drill common holes through both these parts at the same time, you can grip that really tightly. And if you've got 2 of these, which I have, you can put 1 clamp here, drill these 2 holes, grip it there with the second clamp, undo this one, and then drill the other hole. These are also really good for holding small parts down to a fixture plate or a block while you do some operation on it. And the other thing they're really good for is to hold cylindrical stock like this, or bar stock or rod stock. And because of the V-shaped grooves that are cut in the jaws, and in this case there are 2 sets of these grooves at different depths, and they are arranged at 90 degrees to each other. And it means that you can grip the bar stock like that, so that it's sort of laying flat with the face of the clamp, or you can stand it up out of the jaws vertically. So yeah, as a little clamp, machinist clamp around the workshop, they're ideal. Now the thing is, here in Australia, the genuine can't twist clamps are really hard to get. If you can get them, they're usually imported from the United States, and with our rubbish dollar and the exchange rate, which I think last night was about 64 cents, US cents per Australian dollar, and also factor in the shipping costs, it's sort of, you know, it's out of the question really. So to get these in my workshop is a really good thing. Okay, now let's just have a closer look at just one of the clamps. This is a better view. What you can see here is the spacer pin. There's 1, 2, 3 through this larger plate, and there's 1 in the smaller set of plates. These are made of stainless steel, and as you can see, they're bigger diameter than the size of the hole that goes through the plate here. So there is a shoulder machined onto this pin here, and normally there would be a threaded hole down in here, and then you'd use some sort of a screw or a fastener to hold the 2 halves together. Now when I was modeling this in my CAD program, I realized that in order to get a threaded hole in there with enough wall thickness to give you a strong thread, it would end up being around about a M2.5 threaded fastener. And with so many holes that would need to be drilled and tapped in stainless steel, the chance of breaking a tap would be fairly high, for me anyway. So I dispensed with the idea of the thread altogether, and what I've done here is I've just simply machined the length of the pin protruding through the plate here, so it's around about 3 thou more than the thickness of the plate, about 0.1 of a millimeter. And what I did then was it's been drilled, and with a large center punch I just simply swaged the material over, or expanded it outwards, so that it forms sort of a hollow rivet design to hold the 2 parts together. Now you're probably looking at that and saying, well, that's dead flush, but it's not. It's actually just slightly high here. And I've cranked this crossbar up really tight, and as tight as it will go without bending it, and so far I've not been able to spring these plates apart. Now if you look at the commercially designed can't twist clamps, these are a domed head rivet design, not a hollow rivet like I've done, but they would use some sort of a press and a die and punch to be able to do that. In my case here, I just don't have that capability, so using the hollow rivet design has worked really well. So here is a CAD model of what I've tried to achieve here. So you can see the spacer pin with the shoulder. You can also see the drilled hole in the center of the spacer pin, and now we can attach the plate to the spacer pin, and the center punch will come in and simply expand the diameter of that hollow rivet design, and that's what does the fastening. Well, there's the entire family portrait, including the set of plates that we use to make the 50mm or 2-inch clamps. That's how they come to you if you order the plates from Doug Gray. Now, Doug doesn't make the plates for these little ones, the 1-inch clamps, yet. Now, I say yet because if you nag him enough, I'm pretty sure he would make them available. You just need to indicate that there's a market demand there, and if he thinks that there's enough customers for that, he would probably do them. Now, I had a ton of fun making these, and they are going to be very, very useful clamps in my workshop. I really enjoy doing the zinc plating and the gold chromating and the parkerizing on these. For me, it's a part of my hobby, but it's also more or less essential in the climate that I live in. And that's why I tend to do a lot of the anodizing and the powder coating and this sort of plating work. It not only looks good, but it makes the tools more enjoyable to use, and they will last a lot longer. Now, you may live in the part of the world that you don't need to do that, and good luck to you. It's not here though. I always have this issue with stuff going rusty. You can see from my welding bench what that looks like. However, I'm going to wind up here now. I'm going to leave you with some of the footage that we shot when we were in New Zealand. I hope you enjoy that. The next time we meet, I'm going to be talking about the 30,000 subscriber draw. I've got some stuff to give away, so I'll make that announcement. That'll be in the next week or two. So for now, it's Prezzo signing out. I'll see you next time.